Hi everyone, it's me Darlene. I am here with what I'm calling my mini strips. I gather these when I make 5-inch squares, when I cut 5-inch squares. And I have a lot of them, and it's time to start moving some of these. And I have some on eBay right now. I believe the auction is for $48, and there's 2 of each color, so 24 different prints. And but I will keep these going for as long as I have them, or as long as I keep creating them. So always check my eBay to see what kind of scraps I have. And I have all different size strips, so always look at the measurements. I'm calling these mini strips. They're 5 inches this way by anywhere from 3/4 of an inch up to like maybe as much as 1.5 inches. I always show you all the images of the exact ones that you will get on eBay, so it gives you an idea. I don't remember now if I told you everything I wanted to just tell you, but my eBay link is in the description of this video. You can also get it on my blog at darlenemisho.com. And always check my stuff. I have an eBay store. I have auctions also. Okay, I just want to show you what cool little strip sets these babies make. And you can do several things. Obviously, you can make any size strips that you want. But if you're cutting fabric, a lot of fabric, and you have leftovers, or you just have scraps that are left over from whatever projects, you can, in advance, just sew them all together in a big long row, fold that up, put that away, and use it any way you want. It makes a very unusual strip in a strip quilt. We're going to be doing strip quilts, but the rows are going to be pieced. Maybe we could do a whole row of something like this. Anyway, we'll talk about that later. You may want to consider my scrap packs, because those will come in very, very handy for all the different quilting things we're going to do. I do have some in my eBay store right now. Go check those out, and there's always more on the way. But anyway, you can do that, or you can sew them together and cut certain size squares. The only thing you have to remember is that each time you sew strips together, you're going to lose 1/2 of an inch for each seam, because you're taking, 1/4 of an inch off this one, 1/4 of an inch off that one. In the seam allowance, that equals 1/2 an inch. So let's say, for the sake of easy math, let's say if you put these together and you say, oh, that's going to be, long enough. Right now we got 6 inches, but you have 1/2, 1/2, 1/2, 1/2. So that's 1 inch, and that's 2 inches that you're going to lose, because you have 4 1/2 inches that you're going to lose. 4 times 0.5 is 2. And you're going to, so you are at 6 right now, so you'd be down to about 4 inches. And, so just remember that. And also remember that if you add something else, it depends on what size you want. You don't want to be trimming right next to a seam, because that can be a little bulky when you're attaching blocks. So there's a little bit of play in there. But what I like to suggest is just make yourself a bunch of strips, and then when you need like a 4-inch square in a quilt and you want a little strip set like this, you can just say, oh, I could trim here and I could cut here, and that would give me a 4-inch block, assuming they're sewn together already. I'll show you that at the end. So for right now, I'm just going to start putting some of these together, and believe it or not, I'm turning the camera off because I don't want to have to do all the editing with the sewing. So I'm just going to sew these strips together, 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. And I do want to point out that you can send them through 2 at a time. That's another thing you could do. You could just send 2 through, and that way they don't get all thready over the years of never actually doing anything with these. You will do things. So yeah, I'm just going to send 2 more through like that. And let me do that to a bunch of them. I just edited, I don't know, the lighting looked off, so I changed it. This is probably worse. I have a bunch of things now that look like this, and I just finger pressed. Okay? Now I'm going to take 2 and 2, and I'm going to put those together. And let me do that. I didn't like the way that looked either, that lighting, so I went back to square one. Okay, I just want to let you know, this is cool, and I think I would like to be doing this moving forward, making my own little strip sets. You could stop at any size you want. I would probably stop a little bit more, like maybe like this, so we have more options. But I just wanted to let you know, let's say you have something like this. You can measure across now 3 inches this way. But it's not quite 5. You're never going to get quite 5 because we're not going to sew perfectly. It's going to go like, that. What if we wanted, though, a 3-inch square? Now, see, we could trim, and it would give us this piece. You'd have about this much left that can go into crumb blocks and stuff like that. I just think that's cute. Now, this one is bigger, 3.5. So we could get a 3.5-inch square. And if it's something smaller, now say you wanted to cut a 2-inch square, that would be so cute because you'd get 2 of them in this block. Just notice where your ruler is, you'd have to be trimming like here and then here because you want some fabric because you're going to attach that square to something else. You wouldn't want to be cutting like right on a seam or right next to a seam. You could actually cut on a seam. Now that could come off and you'd have 2 inches this way. And if this was all attached like that, then that would be okay. You could say, okay, I'm going to just cut right there and I'll have all that left over. You'll figure out ways to do it that works best for you. I think I'm going to try to make, I don't know, I have 4. Maybe I could just make 4 little blocks to show you how cute they would be because I like little. What's my most narrow here? That's wide. Okay, here I could do 2.5. I could do 3. I could do 2.5. Let me make 4 2.5-inch squares, and what's left over will go in a crumb box. And I thought I had a bright idea, but I screwed up. I should have stayed at the bigger size blocks, but I thought if I do 2.25-inch blocks, I can get 2 out of each piece that I made. And that was working fine, and so I cut 2.25 this way. But then when I cut in the other direction, I am so used to cutting 2-inch squares that I cut only 2. So they're not squares, they're little rectangles. And I think that's okay. Don't you think that's okay? And I'm going to put these on eBay. The auction will start at a penny with free shipping. Just because I don't need them. I kind of like these. I'm just sad that I screwed up. I was like, no. But it gives you ideas, right? I just want to give you ideas. That's all I'm here for, is to give you ideas. And so there's 8, right? 2, 4, 6, 8 little rectangles that I will have on eBay. And then do look for these guys on eBay too. Right now I'm calling them mini strips. But again, always look at the size of the strips. And look at these little gems. When I cut 3-inch squares, my new, I think, almost favorite size, I love 2-inch, but the 3 inches are adorable. I have like scraps like this. These are beautiful scraps. And I'll be putting some of those on eBay as penny auctions too. Well, not some of them, all of them at some point, a little at a time. All right, I feel like I really fucked up, and I'm so sad, and I'm so sorry. I should have gone with just 4 bigger squares, but you got little rectangles, and I think they're very cute. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back with more soon. Bye.